Welcome to the EnVibe Life Conversations podcast with Amy, Parker, and Cheryl Dunn. By tuning in, you are joining a community that will inspire you to increase balance, wellness, and joy in your life. We will offer expert information and insightful conversations to help us all on our journey to live more in vibe. For more information and articles, remember to also check out our website at envibelife.com. That's EnVibelife.com. We're grateful that you are here.
Hello, welcome to EnVibe Life Conversations with Amy, Parker, and Cheryl Dunn. We are excited to be here, but we're having a frustrating day.
Yeah.
And we decided we would come on and talk about it a little bit. So Cheryl, kind of, what's on our mind? Let's tell everyone what's on our mind.
Well, part of the reason why Amy and I decided to come on and talk about how we're feeling is because we don't think that we're the only ones in this. We think it's an energetic thing that's going on a much broader scale that we're all kind of dealing with. And that is the anxiety, the stress, the feeling that's happening. We think it's coming out of COVID and the overpacking of the schedules, our schedules, the kids' schedules, life. It's like we went from 0 miles per hour to 110.
Yeah.
Which we might have been going at this pace pre-COVID, but now after COVID and the transition, whether that's internal, external, it's not comfortable anymore to run at this pace or run at this speed. And we're feeling that, and it's creating stress, anxiety, just this internal physical uncomfortableness. And I think we want to address it. We want to talk about it.
So let's talk about being overscheduled or multitasking in general. So let's just start there and take COVID out of the picture. I almost think it's a disease, being overscheduled or multitasking. And I say this as an uber multitasker. Like I seriously have the ability to organize everything, put it on a schedule, line it up, get it all in a row and say, what do you need me to handle? I can handle it. If you can't get it done, give it to me. I'll get it done. I can figure it out. Bam, bam, bam. What else do I need to do? But just because I'm able to do that, something I'm really working on now is it doesn't mean it's good for me too. And it doesn't mean I ought to be doing it. And that's kind of the benefit of kind of hitting a certain age in your life too. You really do start seeing the effects of running like that in your health, wellness, and even just happiness in your relationships and everything else. Or, even multitasking. And I know that's a pet peeve of yours.
It's a pet peeve of mine. And this has been since before COVID.
Before COVID, yeah.
Before COVID. I was writing an email, someone came in to my office and just started firing me with questions and comments, and I must have taken a deep breath and paused and looked at him, and she's like, I'm just going to keep going because you're a mom, you can multitask and you can write that email and talk to me at the same time. And I kind of paused and I looked at him and I said, I probably can do it, but I don't want to do it. If you're talking to me, I want to give you my attention. And if I'm writing this email, I want to give it my attention. So I can do it. But is the quality there, or the feeling or the intention that needs to be there when we're dealing with other people or dealing with things that matter to us,
So I think the first thing we need to do, and this was part of the COVID reset, ask, what do I really want? Who do I really want to be? And then have your life reflect that.
Yeah.
And I think you and I would both say we like a lot of intentionality in our lives. Part of that is resisting the urge to overschedule. Or, we talked about this before in our boundaries episode, always saying yes. And it's hard to say no sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to say no because you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. Sometimes it's hard to say no because you think, well, maybe that's a possibility for another income source for me. Sometimes you don't want to say no because you really want to do something. It sounds like a lot of fun and you don't want to miss out. Even when it's great reasons to say yes. Sometimes you need to, I think, look at the landscape and realize you have to balance it somehow and you have to pick and choose. And I mean, it's difficult. And I do think, getting back to the COVID thing now, I feel like what I'm seeing a lot is that everyone had to shut everything down.
Yeah.
Right? And so now everything's coming back, and it's almost coming back with a vengeance or full force, whether it's social calendar or work scheduling or, okay, I was able to see what I really want my business to be doing. So now that I can, let me start effectuating those plans. Everyone is kind of going in those directions now. And I feel like we're bursting at the seams energetically somehow.
And there's also this feeling of, oh my goodness, I was shut down for so long, not making any money. So now I should work like a dog to make up for that. There's that, which is, if you keep peeling back the layers, this is what I often try and do when things make me upset or uncomfortable, or, I try and peel back layers of the feeling. And why do I have that feeling? Why does this bother me? Or why do I feel the need to say yes to everything? Or and part of it is, for me personally, I'm just going to spill some of my dirty laundry here. There's this desire to feel like I can do it all, because it's like, I'll have to come back to that thought, but it's like, and maybe it's, I don't know, this is not very clear, but it's like this, you have to do it. You can do it all because you can. You can't.
Right. Exactly.
You can do it all. So you should do it all. And you are a mother, and you have to do this, and you can do this, and you can do that. And there's guilt behind things that you say no to. So I don't know. It's that. And I'm like, why do I feel like I have to do it all? Why is it not okay to say, no, I'm not going to do that? I don't know. That's, maybe I'm just not being very clear, but.
No, I think, so, I mean, here's another angle to that. Probably getting off track, but here we go. I know for my husband and myself, something we've really had to work on in parenting is not doing things for our children, because, I know I can just go do that in 5 minutes.
I know.
And having them do it or teaching them to do it might take an hour, and I don't have an hour. And I think that's an exaggeration, but
for busy parents, I think we do that.
And business owners.
Owners
do the same thing.
If it can be done efficiently.
I can just do it, so let me stop and do it. But then the problem is, you're never creating the skills in other people to take things off your plate. Or giving them the benefit of knowing what they're capable of doing. I don't know if that really had anything to do with our COVID conversation.
But it is. It's true.
I think it's one of the reasons we overschedule or take things on and feel guilty when we don't take things on.
But that's a very valid, true feeling. I know that I've had this conversation with my other friend, Stacy, that I talk about often on this podcast, is that we end up doing things for our kids all the time because it's easier, it's quicker, and it can get done. But we're doing a little bit of an injustice for them. So it's often I have to sit back and be okay with something not being right or perfect. And I also have to do that with some of my employees, is to be like, okay, maybe it's not done the way I would have done it, but it is done okay. And it's getting done. And nobody knows that in my mind, I would have done it A, B, C, and instead they did it C, B, A, still same outcome. All three items are there and done. It's just not done the way I would have done it, and it's done okay. And the customer is just as pleased. That's something I've had to learn as a business owner, as a parent, and also as a co-parent, to sometimes not get aggravated with my husband because he handled an incident different than I would have handled it. So I'll sit back and kind of judge him in the way he's saying it, doing it, or that. And I often have to say in my head, there's value in the way he parents that they're learning too. Like it's good for them to learn this, to handle things from a different perspective, because I tend to sugarcoat it, be real sweet, handle things calmly with my children. Where Steven, sometimes if he gets really aggravated, he's going to raise his voice. It's going to not be as sweet and pleasant, and maybe they'll run me over a little bit more than they'll run him over. Like if he gets mad, everybody listens, right? And I don't get as mad very often, or as often. So there's value in things being different than the way I would do them. I have to tell myself that when things are being handled not the way I would do it. Does that make sense? Or does that ever happen to you? It does make sense.
Oh, all the time. Yeah, that happens to me. I gave up a little control with the third kid. I will say, third kid was the game changer for me. I had to give up a lot because
you can't handle it all.
It was really a difference. Really. That was
outnumbered.
Going from 2 to 3 to me was a bigger difference than going from 1 to 2.
Yeah. Well, you're outnumbered. I think it's a big deal too. Like we are just with 2, so it's easy to kind of divide and conquer with the schedule. But when you add another, how do you do that?
Yeah.
It changes everything.
It was difficult, and they all need different things at different times and different things from each of us. So I don't know. We don't have that. We definitely don't have
it
figured out. But let's get back to the overscheduling topic, because I feel like we're even seeing it in our EnVibe Life business. That we are seeing a lot of schedule changes and cancellations where it almost feels like, people came out of the gate, overbooked themselves maybe, and now are having to face that reality of, wow. Now, and I've heard a lot of, I'm sick. And I believe people really are sick, but I wonder if people are, wearing themselves ragged. Ways like we've talked about before, or what's happening there. And it's just it's confusing and it's hard, and it's hard on the other end too, because it's hard to run your business when you're trying to schedule your family and your business and everything else, and then you keep having changes happen or cancellations and can I rebook, can I redo? And of course you want to be kind and compassionate and say, well, of course, if you need to do that, you do it. But then I know Cheryl and I are sometimes left like, well, okay, what do we do? How do we handle this now? And so that's just, and maybe it would have been like this before COVID. I know we weren't facing this during COVID. During COVID, people were so laser focused on what they were doing, I feel like, and maybe taking a different pace of life so that when they did commit to something, we hardly ever had a cancellation or a reschedule.
I know. And now we get a lot.
Now we get a ton.
It's interesting. This is going to be pretty drastic, but sometimes when I get super stressed, and I say a lot of things in my head, and I think we all do say a lot of things in our head that we wouldn't say normally. But yesterday, so my other business was shut down during COVID. So in order to get it back up and going is a good thing, that it's busy and going and doing. But when it's overbooked, it's not a good thing, right? For me personally. So that's hard to say that when you're trying to make up for lost time, lost income, that kind of stuff.
And you value your clients. You love them. I know you do.
I love what I do. I really like it. It brings me joy to have that one-on-one time with people. Because it's so, you can see it in my face. I sparkle with it, because when do we ever get that? We hardly get it with our children or our family. So it's nice to have that. And I have great clients. But when I got this, isn't it great to be busy kind of thing, this is what I'm saying is going to be shocking. Sometimes in my head, I'm like, it brings me so much stress. And I truly believe stress killed my brother. So no, I don't want to go there. And I know that's drastic. And I didn't say it verbally. I've never said it verbally. But so it's kind of crazy that I'm putting it out on the podcast. But he had a massive heart attack.
Well, it's a trigger for you.
It's a trigger.
You just uncovered a trigger for you.
It's a major
and why?
trigger. Yeah. This stress of too busy, too much, and that's what's stressing me today. There are other things that can stress you, but it's a big trigger. It's that I know stress, and I knew stress was not good for our bodies prior to his passing. But that was like, if I'm going to learn something from this, that's going to be one thing. We're not going to live our lives like that. We're going to, and I'm not even saying that he lived his life like, I'm not judging his life. I just know that he wasn't a smoker and he wasn't a drinker and he had a massive heart attack and he wasn't even really that overweight, right? So I totally believe that it was stress induced. He was a business owner, and as Amy and I both know, when you own your own business, there's a little bit level of stress there that sometimes is harder than if you're not a business owner, So I work really hard, and it's why we started EnVibe Life, and I changed my life completely. I work really hard to control the level of internal stress that I'm creating on my own. Like nobody else is giving me the stress. I'm creating it myself by the story in my head. I've never said that either, but that's true. But it is true. Like the anguish and despair is brought on ourselves. And I'm not saying that you can't have those feelings. They're very valid feelings. But the level that you let them affect you is completely your own choice. And that's a hard pill to swallow some days, to know that like, this is making me mad. Something somebody else did, but it's my choice to be mad about it all day. I don't have to be mad about it all day. Yes, it could have triggered you, but you can let it go. And it doesn't mean that your feelings aren't valid. That doesn't mean there's not something you need to do about it or say about it. But to continue to have anguish about it or despair or stress about it is my choice. Not what somebody else did.
Well, because at its heart, just talking about triggers, any trigger that comes up is your lesson.
Yes.
It's not the other person's fault or this, that, or the other. It's just a reflection to you of something you need to examine, really.
And that's a tough one. I mean, I've known that, but it doesn't make it easy. To peel back those layers and figure out, why is it a trigger, or why does it keep triggering me every day? That kind of thing. If it's one of those, or you think it's gone away and then all of a sudden 6 months later it's back. That's a tough one. Or to not feel guilty that you have these feelings. Why should you feel that way? This and this and this. There's that goes with it as well. But that's another trigger. Guilt is also a trigger.
Well, let's talk about now why we overschedule. Because what's coming up to me is it probably comes out of some sort of void or fear.
I think so.
I mean, I know at times for me, just looking back in my life, when I've been super overscheduled, it's been maybe I didn't love my life when I was still. So if I kept constant motion, it was like any other drug. I just kept busy and it just kept me going. And then I don't have to deal with that other stuff. If I'm going, it could be, like you said, a fear of your financial stability and family stability. Like I better do this because
this is what puts food on the table.
If I don't hunt and gather now and winter comes, then what am I going to do? That kind of primal
that's really
instinct.
Big right now, because all of us sit there like, what if we shut down again? Because now we've all lived through that it's reality that your income can be taken away from you overnight.
But it's putting you back in that fight or flight then.
I know.
That's what's happening.
Yes.
People are in fight or flight right now. And the fight is, I will then just schedule. But then every once in a while they get pushed to the point where they have to flee.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do it. I have to, because we saw during COVID what it was like to maintain that level of homeostasis. Maybe that's the word, or calm or balance, equilibrium. And so, like, once you know what that's like, your body don't you think your body craves that more?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know new people. I know you like constant activity. My husband, Lord knows, doesn't like to sit still very long. I mean, because he just, like, a zest for doing things. But that doesn't mean we don't need some level of rest and reset and recharge. And I think, I'm the opposite. I like a ton of calm and then my moments of activity, where a lot of people are tons of activity and moments of calm and different ways to balance it. And I know that. But I think what we all learned, or everyone learned as one of the lessons of the pandemic, was the benefits you can receive from those resets. Even when they were forced and hard for people at first, then I feel like a lot of people went,
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I have discovered about myself? Like, yes, I'm a mover and I like to go and go and go, but I need moments of quiet during the day. And quiet to me can be at home doing laundry or whatever I need to do, but no TV, no music, no people talking.
Yeah. And that's true. And I said you like a lot of stuff, but you don't like a lot of stimuli.
I don't like a lot of stimuli. Like my husband loves for his vinyl records to be playing and going, where I can't, I like, ooh, can we turn the music off? Can we turn the TV off? Can I keep it quiet? That kind of thing. So when that gets disturbed and I don't have time during my day to be quiet or be in a quiet space, then my brain starts to get anxious, and not in a good way. It starts to feel overbooked, overstressed, that kind of thing, when I don't get any quiet.
So let's get some strategies, because especially, and I think this is going to be airing right as we're entering the holiday season. So, for me, I always think Halloween through New Year's is my holiday season, maybe because my birthday falls right there too. But really, the intense holiday season is Thanksgiving through the New Year. Things are shut down. Businesses are adjusting their schedules. And so we're trying to fit more into less work days. Yes. And I think that's why you and I in our business are probably seeing this pop up even more now. People are having to adjust and readjust their schedules to account for trying to take some time off. I mean, I think the first thing is maybe just step back for a minute and give yourself permission to crave that calm and energy of quiet and reset.
I think with that is observing what feeds that quiet peace that we all found that we love. Observe what you need to fill that. Because like what you need could be different. It's like what Amy needs versus what I need is different. But we know what it is that we need to be quiet. And don't feel guilty for taking it. Be grateful that whether it's 5 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever you get that feeds your quiet piece of your soul, be grateful for it. And I think gratitude is a big thing to help get people out of this, or at least it helps me tremendously. The tool of saying the gratitude list, first thing when you wake up in the morning, think of your blessings, that sort of stuff kind of helps me reset and just change my attitude towards the day, or even at night when maybe you've had a long, stressful day, right before you go to bed, kind of replay from the time that you're in bed to the morning, replay all the things that you have gratitude for.
And then more of those will come into your life too. But here's the one little preachy thing I will say. Realize it's okay for you to say you can't make everything this holiday season, but be kind and respectful to others and give them notice, whether it's a business meeting or a social occasion or whatever. Realize that all the rest of us are super overscheduled too. So try to intentionally look at your schedule now and say, what do I really need to do or adjust, and make those adjustments. Give people plenty of notice. And it's okay to say, I just have too much that week. I just can't make it. I think most people will understand.
Definitely. I think so too. But it's hard, but
it is. So I hope everyone enjoys their holidays.
Yes.
And really find that time with family and friends that some of us missed last year and hopefully are able to enjoy this year. Treasure it, because when we didn't have it, we realize now how much we missed it. And I don't know, I've been having a lot of fun lately seeing friends and getting out a little more. I hope everyone else is too, but realize you need the balance there as well.
Definitely. So happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays. And thank you for joining us. Make sure you go to EnVibeLife.com and check us out. Leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening. We really, really appreciate it. And we also appreciate you.
Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining our conversation today. For more information or to learn more about EnVibe Life, we hope you'll visit us at www.envibelife.com. You can find links and show notes for this episode on our podcast page. Please like, follow, and leave a review for our podcast. We hope that you will listen again soon.